folks, welcome to Let's Talk About Video Games, presented by OriginalGamer.com, San Antonio's #1 video game website. Actually, might be the only one, but I'm not sure. Yeah, good point. Good point. So what we've done is we've gathered a couple of folks that are involved in the industry. I'm going to start with, to my right is... I know we need an intro music like WWE. Okay, to my right is Oscar O.G. Gonzalez. He is the founder, owner, grand poobah, guy that signs checks of OriginalGamer.com. Are you also looking for writers?
Yes, we are looking for writers. If you are interested, stick around. I'll tell you about the gig, and I'll let you know what's needed. You work on the site, you have access to free games, free events, and a little bit extra cash. So if you're interested, stick around.
And that's Oscar O.G. Gonzalez. To his right is Mike Biela, one of the staff writers for OriginalGamer.com, as well as our resident anime and Japanese video game expert, so definitely his element here. And next to him is our resident Renaissance man. He's a wrestler, a retro gamer, and a YouTube personality. This is Eric 8-Bit Bettis. Or is it 8-Bit Eric?
And I'm totally lost here. I don't know any of those characters.
Now to my left are probably the coolest people in the room because they actually make video games. This is Joe Guerra and Veronica Victoria. Darn. That was autocorrect, I swear. Yeah, Victoria Sertich. They were part of a team from Northwest Vista College that actually got to the top 5 of the E3 college game competition. So, you know, they actually make games. Joe actually has a company now, 3D Generation, and they're working on mobile games and all that neat stuff. He's the programmer, designer, code guy, and Veronica is the artiste, the Victoria.
Let's go with V.
So that's what they do. That's what they do. And as for myself, my name is Eduardo Solis, aka Randomizer 9, former editor and voice guy for OriginalGamer.com. And let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to ask some questions. Well, we're going to talk. If y'all have questions, you know, raise your hand or something to contribute to the conversation. That's the long and short of it. So let's go to our first question. With the recent mobile game craze, as well as many Android consoles coming out soon, do you think we might be on the verge of another video game crash? Oscar?
I think that the crash is not going to happen. There is what they call it in the housing market, a correction. Basically, there was too many people that bought Wii's. There's too many people that bought Wii's, and it just inflated the market so much that now all those people are not buying Wii U's, they're not buying new systems, they're buying iPads, they're buying tablets. So that's 30, 40 million people that are not in the market anymore. So now the market has to condense a bit, but it's not going to crash like 1983 where it all went to hell. It's just slowing down and now it's picking up.
Right, so the smaller players, the small fries will die off and...
Well, it's the people that made the bad decisions. THQ went under because they spent 20, 30, 40 million to make their tablets for the Wii.
The U-Draw.
Yeah, and since the Wii's not even around anymore, and they didn't have that audience anymore, they lost money. So that's what happens. If you invested too much into something and the market just condensed back into what it should have been. There shouldn't have been 250 million consoles in the US, in the global market. That's how many were sold.
Right, and all those people are not quote unquote. They're the like serious casual gamers, the folks that bought it for just Wii Sports, and that was it. They didn't go out and buy Zelda, they didn't go out and buy Need for Speed. That was it. And so it's like, okay, well, Wii Sports was fun. I'm done with video games. You know, so lots of those people is what you're saying. Mike? Crash gonna happen in 84?
Not so much as the big players like Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and PC. They're fine. like OG said, it's more of the smaller guys, the mobile guys. There's so many people making Android consoles, the MOBA, whatever the hell.
Yeah, the mobile's
MOBA. Everybody's making an Android console. Everybody wants that little piece of the Android pie because it's easy to make. But then you look at the marketing, the app marketing, with Apple or the Google Play Store. There's clones upon clones upon clones upon clones upon clones. There's no really good innovation. And the only way to get any money is you have to make a clone. And you can only have so many clones of one thing. Which, if you look at the Palm, look how many clones they had. Look how many clone consoles. We saw that AEGN episode. Clones of all consoles. How many consoles do you need just for Palm? So how many consoles do you need to play Android when you have your tablet or your iPhone?
Eric?
I don't necessarily see a crash happening because of like how many games are made. I think it's the fact that I don't think anybody wants to pay for games anymore. I think everybody's looking for a way to download them free or play them free or hack it. So I think it's just there's too many games available.
Too many cheap games.
Yeah.
Because now you can get stuff for your phone, your iPad for 99 cents, $5, instead of paying $60 for a box.
I think the fact that there is mobile gaming that is damaging a lot because it's a good thing and a bad thing because I don't think people have as much free time to play games anymore because people are more busier than ever. So it's not like, you have free time, you want to go out and do something else, and you have your iPhone or your Android phone, so it's more easier to play a game, or your 3DS or your PS Vita, it's so much easier to play portably. But I think a lot of those mobile games aren't really that great, and it's like,
Joe, crash is going to happen.
I agree with that. I'm not going to crash
That kind of goes to the cheap games. Good point. And recording. Only the strong shall survive. You go. Like y'all. So yeah, I mean, it seems like
to touch on it again, I think now with like Disney Infinity, like Skylanders and stuff, where they're going back to the gimmicky, it's a toy instead of video game thing, it's a sign that maybe quality game is that we get that.
then we reach the peak where there's not really much else you can do with
Let's
video
throw a
games.
toy on
So
it.
let's okay. Well,
Kind of like Rob the Robot. Now you have Infinity.
yeah, we don't know how long that lasts. Okay, next. Any questions from the audience? Any feedback? Anything? Sir.
So I guess in relation to the discussion of the potential video game crash, what do you think about the rise of the independent games as Kickstarter?
We're getting there.
Yeah,
We
that's
actually have a topic on
All right.
that. End of this. We're getting there.
over there.
Sir.
Someone once said on a YouTube video that Capcom specifically, they had very little money to really produce anything, and they were going because they were going specifically DLC. Is DLC helping the cause of the crash or hurting it more than anything?
Depends on who you ask, because DLC is one of those things that we have a question on that. The short answer is it's good for the developers. It gives them more money. Of course, you can't make games without money. But on the flip side, it teaches people like us off. But we'll touch more on that.
And that's really the key thing is with Capcom. They're down to 160 million because they kept on pissing people off. They had online on this DLC for Street Fighter Cross Tekken that ticked off everybody. Resident Evil 6 ticked off everybody. They just keep on annoying everybody, and they just don't get it. And they're wondering, hey, why didn't we sell 10 million copies?
Why does everybody hate our guts and not want to buy our game?
Yeah.
And I'm still upset over Mega Man.
It's Mega Man! Come on! It's Mega Man 25th anniversary, and there's no no new name.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
You also said that they made too many copies, clone copies of fighting games too, but
That I'll disagree.
But he's part of the problem though. He's a fighting game.
I like fighting games, but with Street Fighter, everyone of them has played just enough. But Resident Evil 6 wasn't really good. They're expecting to sell at least, I think, 5 million, and they sell maybe 2, and that really is
But they're hedged their bets on the wrong horse. Alrighty, fun time. Okay, well, I will. Right, quick multiple choice question.
Okay.
Multiple choice, just answer. First thing pops in your head. Mario, Luigi, Toad, or the princess?
Toad.
Mike. Mario.
I always like Toad. He's the strongest one.
Yeah, because y'all know where that's from, right?
yeah.
Mario 2. Okay, next question. Nintendo had expected to sell 9 million Wii U's by March of next year. As of the end of October, they've sold less than half that. What do you think they can do to get back into the game? Because the new guys are coming, this month. So let's start from this side, Joe.
Well, I think Nintendo is kind of
Okay.
and also they released their console earlier and really didn't act about it. So I'm not happy that Wii came out or
See if you guys nodding. I'm one of them. I'm in the same boat. I mean, it's like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Mario.
So
Something different.
I think Nintendo's charm is wearing off and we're gonna fall into the same game.
Almost all of us are quite falling.
Yeah, let's hear Eric's Mr. Nintendo, Mr. Luigi hats.
I think Nintendo's going to be fine. Bottom line, they're always going to be around, just like Sega's always going to be around. Sure, they probably haven't sold anything, but I think we're going to see the PS4 and the Xbox One not sell as much as they hope either. To be honest, I'm predicting that. But that's because I think people don't want to pay that much for consoles. People are just satisfied with what they're being. I do think Nintendo does try something different every time they have a system. They always do try to innovate. But yeah, maybe it is worn out, but I think it's, if you look at the same thing, there's not much further that the other two systems can go either after this. So I think this might be actually the last successful generation of game. I think after that it's going to be pretty tough.
Going back to this side, Victoria.
Well, like you said, I think Nintendo will never go away. Many people love Nintendo. You guys know anybody who has a Zelda tattoo and Xavier has a Zelda tattoo? That's what I'm saying. So, it'll never go away. It's always going to be there. But I think it's the lack of hype. And then, it's a
Make sure your chair is blocked.
Oscar.
Oh, well, Nintendo needs to get the games out there that we own. I mean, where's Star Fox? I mean, there's no Star Fox. They go with Mario Kart. Hey, that too. They're sitting on millions of dollars of IPs that they can have any company practically work on. And they're just sitting on it. They haven't announced anything really special. It's going to be new Mario and new Zelda, new Mario Kart, and that's really it. It doesn't go into
Smash Brothers.
and Smash Brothers. None going into Star Fox. They did Luigi's Mansion. They're not getting into all these franchises that they've built up over the years, and it's just money left on the table, and they're wondering why they're not selling. They got to be their best. But that's like Bayonetta 2, and then.
Well, they need more of those.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's going to happen, but they need to. And they need it, but they need to just flood their system with their games. Because that's why everybody's buying Wii U's, because they still want Nintendo games. If you wanted, Call of Duty, you go with 360 Xbox One. But they have all those franchises, they need to just get them all on the Wii U right away. And that's what I would do. I would put every single company on a different Nintendo franchise.
Mine's is more along the lines of what OG said, but Nintendo America, stop Xenoblade, Pandora's Tower, what was that?
So bring some of that cool stuff from Japan
The
over here.
last
story.
Last story. Nintendo of America. Nintendo of Europe's like, hey, we're going to show these games at E3. Reggie said, no, no, no. America does not want that. America, we know what America wants. America wants more of Luigi's Mansion and more Mario. They want that. They don't want nothing interesting. They don't want those RPGs. And then we look what happened with Operation Rainfall. They have tons of games that could benefit with the Wii U pad, like the newest Fatal Frame. That'd be perfect, perfect for this. But they don't do it. They didn't do it. I mean, they did it with the portable version, of the 3DS version, but nobody really picked it up because they didn't market it. So Reggie, please give us the games.
This body is ready. All right, moving on. Yeah, quick one. PS4, Xbox One, and we'll start with Eric. Or none.
PS4.
PS4, Mike.
PS4.
PS4.
It's always the one. Joe.
I guess I'm probably gonna get both eventually. We'll start with PS4.
I'm leaning toward the Xbox One. I'm sorry. Somebody else come on. I didn't say I was gonna get one. I just leaning towards one.
What's your football on the Xbox One?
I am one of these weirdos that still watches television, so. Sir.
Why would you think they talk about it?
Well, I actually like the media stuff, like the watching TV stuff. I actually do like the Xbox Media Center on my current Xbox. I think it's awesome. You know, it drives me bonkers if they didn't wire it up to connect. You know, so. But yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in the other stuff than the game stuff. Everybody's like, oh my god, games, you know, Halo, Gears of War, blah, blah, blah. But I like the media stuff. But I ain't got no money. I just bought a house, so academic. You.
Think of the way the past generation systems are and how good they still are right now, that the next generation, the ones that are coming up, might have a little bit of problem with that?
Well, it kind of goes into what Eric was saying
I
earlier,
I think the next generation of consoles is going to design to be much different than what's now. It's going to be connect, grab,
and media stuff, and,
yeah, it's going to be more like media oriented.
and sharing movies.
It's basically you're basically paying for a computer, basically.
Well, the thing is that they're.
But and when you get to that, when you start getting to that point, that's what's going to cause, people not to buy games. They're going to be like, screw that, I'm going to get something cheaper. I'm going to get, whatever handheld system is at the time, or they're just going to play it on their phone. They'd be like, I can do everything on my phone for less than what whatever the next one's going to be called, or the next Xbox is going to be called.
The difference is that both Sony and Microsoft, they're pushing for everybody to go to the new system. I mean, if you look at the release date schedule for next year, there's barely anything PS3 and Xbox 360. They're going to be there along with the Xbox One and PS4 versions, but they're pushing everybody over, and because they're making that push, unlike the previous generations, that's why. I mean, all the indie stuff, they're already saying, put it on our system, screw the Xbox 360 and PS3. They want to push it to the next generation.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe this is going to affect, because when a family owns a PS2, owns a PS2, I remember when we got the PS2, and it wasn't just that I enjoyed playing games on it. My mom liked to watch TV on it, this and that. And so I think that when people see that what's going to be much better on the PS4, because we already have one, and it plays the TV that I want to watch, plays the games that I want to watch, and if this one doesn't do more than that, and it can't, what's the point of it? What are the point of these new systems? If they only slightly play games slightly better, and like you said, you have a PC, which will play it, which you can upgrade yourself, you can build your own PC, you can make it better, and then you have this, it's only slightly better, and it doesn't do much more. I don't see the point of it.
Well, the other thing too is the PlayStation 2 had the benefit of DVD. You know, it came, DVDs, players were still a new thing when the PS2 came out. PS3, Blu-ray. I'll be honest with you, my PlayStation 3 is a Blu-ray player that plays Ratchet and Clank. That's all I bought it for. You know, are the new systems going to have enough extra stuff? You know, because there's no really big thing unless you count 4K, you know, TV sets and who's got the money for that. You know, to pull people in besides the game. So I think what it might boil down to is that we might just be left with just the hardcore gamers buying.
I think eventually it's just going to essentially be a rental box because there's not going to be any physical disc. There's not going to be any DVD player. There's not going to be any Blu-ray. You want to watch movies, you buy the movie, and you can only watch it on that console. You can't take the movie to your friend's house or take your game to your friend's house. It's going to be only licensed to you. That's what I think it's going to be.
I think the interesting thing about the Sony is already thinking ahead of a few, which is why they bought Gaikai. The president of Sony Worldwide Studios, Yoshida, I forget his last name. Yuhei Yoshida said that eventually they want the PlayStation brand to be a service, because right now they say that you can play your PS when the Gaikai comes live next year. You'll be able to play your PlayStation 3 games on your tablet, on your PC. They're really looking forward to the future, to where instead of making no more hardware, no more gaming hardware, they're going to be a service where you want games on your PC, your PlayStation games on your PC. They're the ones to go to for your gaming. So they're really looking towards the future.
So kind of like being a Netflix kind of thing, where you know you want games instead of buying boxes and DLC. You pay X number of dollars a month, and you get access to, you know, library games.
Basically trying to become Steam. They want to become Steam.
Right. And the other thing, though, is that also developers are tired of working with the 360 and PS3. They have said it over and over again. They're like, we're done. We want something different. And they want to jump to the next generation. And also with the indie was, Sony and Microsoft, they're handing them, the Xbox One is practically a developer kit. You just got to contact Microsoft and you got to get credentials, and then you can start developing on it. So Microsoft wants everybody to go over there. It's going to take a while. I mean, the last PS2 game came out last year. This year. I think the last FIFA game came out this year on the PS2. So they were still making games for it. It took that long for it to not be video game. That's why it's over 120 million. So it's going to take a while. I mean, but eventually everything changes over.
Yeah, it's just we're in that transitionary period and all that good stuff. Okay, another quick multiple choice question. Let's start with Eric. Bejeweled, Candy Crush, Farmville, or would you please stop pestering me with those damn Facebook games?
Candy Crush.
Mike?
Candy Crush.
Oscar?
Please stop pestering me with other Facebook games.
You should have said my game. Oh, I didn't make that an option. But yeah. So we'll add it to the list when it's done.
Eric's playing Tapped Out.
Yeah, I like the sentence tapped out.
I was getting into Candy Crush myself. And I feel bad 'cause I don't play it anymore. And I see all these requests, like send you a request, send you a request. I'm like, I read them.
You know how many people I unfriended because of that? A lot. I almost unfriended my mom.
So what you're saying is, if I keep playing, I keep
you're
sending
next.
requests.
You're next.
Might be a bad thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to our next question. Are we ready for virtual reality? It's been tried before. There's this new system on the way that was partially funded through Kickstarter called Oculus Rift. That's the little thing that he was wearing.
I think those two saw it.
Are we ready
Did
for
you
it?
guys mess with it?
Yeah, we have.
You
So
have
they're
it?
working on it. So they have it.
And I think a lot of people that put it on like get sick with it and stuff like that. But if you look at like, their instructions about it, well, things I cannot do when you're making games on this first.
Well, it's been around in a circle.
Yeah. If people, I think people make games that fit around it. And I think there's a lot of other technology coming out that's similar. Like, for example, CapVR, probably has what it does, but it's also an augmented reality too. Put on glasses and it'll project board games or something.
Okay, kind of like what people do with their 3DSs, where you hold it up and you see stuff on the wall. Okay.
Well, their Kickstarter's going on right now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, you know, technology is awesome. The trick is how do you figure out a way to make games with this technology? How do you make, it's like the Wii pad. You know, what can I do with this pad and a video game that I couldn't do before? You know, we have it's a solution looking for, it's a problem looking for a solution, or vice versa. You got it backwards. You know, Oscar, are we ready for virtual reality, or is it going to bomb like all the other virtual reality attempts have?
Well, this one actually works. I don't know if you've seen the videos. I mean, you guys know about the Oculus Rift, how it's, I mean, Jimmy Fallon's using it, put it on there. People have actually tried it out, and they take people, like, there's people that have scared of heights. And there's one person, they had her on a roller coaster simulator. And it freaked her out. It paralyzed her with fear because it's so realistic. I mean, that's where it's going. It's gonna take a while, but everybody's on board. I mean, it's a technology that everybody wants to see.
Oh, and it's mature, I think is where you're getting at.
Yeah, it's
because early VR, I remember being in college myself, late 90s, and they had like a VR thing, this big old huge honking thing, and you put the helmet on your head, and everything was just, you know, just flash shaded, giant polygons everywhere. And you like ran around, you had like a gun with one shot, and you push the button on the joystick, and you see the bullet was literally like, you're trying to shoot the other guy in the maze, but we thought it was the coolest thing, oh my god, but yeah, I mean, that's a device that, you know, one day you'll probably be able to go to Best Buy, Walmart, and just buy it off the shelf, just like you do your PS3, so yeah, Mike, virtual reality.
I don't know, I want to see it happen, but then you said that we were ready for motion control. But the thing is, the difference between motion control and the Oculus Rift, I think people are, like, you really don't have to move, you just tilt your head, that's like natural movement. I don't know.
He had a question. Virtual one.
So then what's like the big difference after I get popped back in, like
But that's the thing, nobody really knows.
Virtual Boy wasn't so much it wasn't actually like 3D virtual reality. It was more like if you're using the little periscope and playing a game through like a little terminal. It wasn't like this, but even this, I think right now it might seem cool. Honestly, I don't want to play games in virtual reality. I want to be able to like eat food and
Well, because you can't play Mario Bros. 3. Probably could.
I think it's a certain game, so that way that you have the option to play without virtual reality. That way people, you don't want to, you know, buy, many people buy different games. So, and then with your question of like past technology, how did it work? The thing is with virtual reality that if there's just a little thing off, like tracking that you'll really get the user really busy and stuff like that. So now with today's technology, it's a lot more accurate at preventing all that illness.
Plus, the virtual boy was just black and red. It wasn't full color. So it kind of defeated the purpose of that virtual reality because you see in color, you don't see black.
Yeah, long story short, it's gotten better. You know?
A lot.
Yeah. Speaking of control, Steve, you remember like Power Glove and all that from back in the day? Would that be more of an attachment to this, you know, or is that?
Might be a question for Joe. So
Something
how do you control one of these games?
Yeah.
Usually, we use different controller to play. It's kind of awkward because there's one attached to it. The bar is actually kind of. I've seen some demos where they take like
Is it just arms and legs so far?
The Oculus Rift itself only controls the tilting of the head. It only in like this direction. There's no this direction. There's no walls in there.
They're working on it.
Gaming companies have always tried to find a way to go to simulated or virtual reality. Like there was even a thing called the U-Force for the original Nintendo where there's nothing there and you move your hands and you control the game. You know, the Wii.
And it was terrible.
PlayStation Move. You have Kinect now. You have, you know.
Luminosity.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff.
Back for the Microsoft, but it is like, nope, you don't need
There was even
that.
a vest, like,
Yes.
where you get hit.
Yes.
The Sega Genesis had the
And there's vests in your chairs. All it does is just vibration.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something that companies even way back have always tried to, do. And I just don't ever see it.
We're closer now. I think the tech has matured to the point where we're getting close. So let's jump ahead to the question that somebody brought up earlier about Kickstarter. Do you think crowdfunding is the future of publishing and funding games, or there have been some issues with some of the big Kickstarters, like the Double Fine one has some issues. What's your thoughts on Kickstarter, Joe?
Well, I think it's great because we haven't tried it yet to utilize it in the future, but I think people should know what they're getting into.
Buyer beware is what it boils down to. Isn't that what happened with the Double Fine one?
Well, the Double Fine one, what happened was that they needed more money. They said, hey, we're going to make it for $600,000, $900,000, and they got the money. They ended up getting 3 times that, $3 million total. And they said, okay, we're going to make this great, amazing game. And then they realized, oh my God, it's going to take more money, but we got more money, so we don't need your money, but we may try to get money here. And the game's not going to come out when we said it. It's going to come out next year. Actually, we're going to split it in 2, so we're going to put out this year, then next year. So they themselves, the originators of video game crowdfunding, they haven't put out a game yet. And it's already been way longer. Other companies have already put out their games, and it's getting really annoying. Because with Kickstarter, everybody thought that this was going to be the next big thing. But now there's so many companies that are just, there was a company, I forget the name of the game, dude. It was by Neil Stevenson, the author. And they just said, hey, they did their Kickstarter, and the money was not even to make the game. The money was to actually go advertise. The game's not even made. And they had they got $400,000 out of the $300,000 budget. They didn't even make the game. And now it's just done. So it was a great start, but now it's over.
Victoria?
Well, I think it's a great alternative, but the responsibility you have to plan what your budget is, you have to follow through. People that pay and understand that they're going to your reward and because but I think it's a great alternative. I think it's really helping things like Oculus Rift. That's how it got a lot of stars. Crazy, funded so much money, more than they thought.
And the Ouya was on there now.
And Mighty Number 9, that game's come out. That was ridiculously funded on Kickstarter, like quadruple the amount that it wanted. But I think it's just people. People. It's all up to the people's own caution. I mean, you have the right to donate to whatever you want.
Yeah, like Joe said, be careful.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing about the Double Fine thing, because the Double Fine thing was made by people who make games and have done games in the past. So when it didn't come through, everybody's like, what the heck? I mean, you're not just some neat Joe Bob, hey, I'm gonna make a game. You're, what's the guy name? The guy.
Tim Schafer.
Yeah, Tim Schafer, who's done games in the past, worked in the industry, blah, 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 blah. Why couldn't you make this game? You've done it before. This isn't a new thing. WTF, man. Sir.
Just had a question about that. How do you feel about pay-per-power games?
It depends on the game. I'm the kind of guy where I don't mind starting from level 1, playing against level 50s. It's sort of the pitfalls of free to play, because
Not everybody has the time.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
If you've got an extra $20 to gain 20 levels, then it's on you. In the end, as many people complain about it, there are very few times I've seen people say it's impossible to play if you don't have money. Eventually, you will get there. It's just going to take more time. But then again, that's the trade-off.
Some people are willing to throw down the money because they don't have the time. So getting back to the Kickstarter question, Mike.
It's a double-edged sword. There are games that are worthwhile funding, but then with Double Fine, I've met Tim Schafer before, and he seems like a really nice guy. But the thing is, his whole thing, it seems like they wanted the money first, and then they they develop the game, like, and they start saying, okay, we got the money, we got to actually start developing the game. Whereas other companies have, like, we're in the middle of development. We need more money to push it to the final lab. Like, you need to do more fine tuning to it, fine tuning, whatever. That's how it seems to me. So it really depends. And like with Final Number 9, we have someone as iconic as King James Food and say, hey, I'm gonna make a Mega Man game, but it's not a Mega Man game. Everybody wants Mega Man, so they're gonna just throw money at it. Just throw money.
That's literally what Kickstarter's logo is, throw money at the screen.
Well, everybody except Capcom wanted a Mega Man game.
Yeah, Capcom's only one for whatever reason. 25-year anniversary, what did they put out?
An album.
A comic book.
Album, a comic book, and Project
Yeah,
X.
they had the Mega Man Sonic.
Everyone downloaded it for any of those programs.
To play devil's advocate, though, there's been a ton of Mega Man games. Like the Game Boy Advance ones, ones with the Game Boy. Yeah.
Yeah,
But the last one was Mega Man 10.
But then y'all the first one to say, oh, Nintendo does Mario all the time. Maybe Capcom didn't want to do Mega Man all the time.
It's like with Mario, the question with Mario is the same thing. What to do next? How can you push?
I honestly don't think there's going to be much that you can do with Mega Man.
How can you take Mega Man further than where you either the only other way to take him back, to take him forward, is to bring him back, break him down, start all over again.
That's what they did in Mega Man 10.
Well, that's what I liked about Mega Man Legends. It was still, they did something different with it. It was the first one that was done in 3D, for better or for worse, but it was still, of course they did kind of the weirdo Japanese thing, which is a side story, so it's not really Mega Man, it's just some other guy who looks a lot like Mega Man, but he has an actual name and blah, 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 but, it was something different. That's what cheesed me off about, them canceling Legends 3.
Yeah, just good old Capcom. Just not making anyone mad.
Actually, they're in the
Okay, let's get to a fun question. Given recent uproars about Mass Effect and the Xbox One, DRM and all that stuff, do you think gamers might be, or at least some of them, might be just a little too passionate, let's say, about video games? Eric?
I think anybody that plays anything modern today is crazy.
He's our retro.
Yeah.
Mr. 8-bit.
All those people debating, like even the Call of Duty Ghost debate where people were fighting over, one of them is 720 and the other one's 1080 and they're threatening to kill each other over it and stuff, and it's ridiculous.
Some anger is justified, such as the DRM stuff,
Yeah.
the whole always online, because nobody likes Connect. And before they want all the reversals you need to have, because everyone's like, oh, you don't need to have it on. It's like, no, you need to have it plugged in order for it to work. That's the thing a lot of people didn't understand about it. It's like, you can turn the thing off, but it needs to be plugged in. People were pissed off about that. That's understandable. But then when you get to it, well, I got a blue ending in Mass Effect or green or whatever color ending, and you go send cupcakes to BioWare saying, hey, you know what? We didn't like your ending. Here's your cupcakes. That's just juvenile. Especially when you drag in a charity into it. It's like you're bringing them into it. It's like, you know what? We hate your game so bad. We're so angry that we're going to take all that money that we could have spent on Mass Effect DLC and we're going to give it to charity. Like, why you got to bring the kids into it?
They were just thinking of the children.
What it is that there's what you're dealing is with a lot of people online that aren't being controlled. They're not being sort of level-headed about things. They're not being told to say, "Hey, calm down." They're being told there's people that are saying you should be pissed off at this, you should be pissed off at that. I mean, it's the same thing with politics.
Mob mentality, I think is where you're getting at.
Pretty much, no one is controlling the asylum. And when the inmates run the asylum, everybody gets upset at all of those things, and then they start freaking out. It's up to industry in general. Like with Call of Duty, they're saying, we got the best fans ever. They bought 1 million copies of Call of Duty. Look at us. A week later, the community manager was getting death threats, and they're wondering what happened. Because they don't control their community. Because they just say, hey, you can go ahead and tell people to kill themselves. But they don't control the community themselves, and they're wondering why the community is crazy. Until you start controlling communities within the gaming industry, then you're just going to have a bunch of people that are really loud, that are really used to saying whatever they want, really used to doing and that on and on again, and then you can tell them to shut up, and they just get more angry. You just got to control, you got to kind of like say, you got to take that a little bit and just say, okay, try to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, swing the band hammer a little bit. Questions?
I know you guys were talking about the league legends apparently for it, they developed the tribunal to punish.
Oh, so they have a system
Yeah,
for
that's because they were.
Punish the rages and the intentional fears and grieving on the.
Because with League of Legends, if you go on there, if one person just becomes a baby, and your whole team is done. But they put that in there, and that's a good example of what companies need to do. They need to go in there and say, all right, we got reports that you're saying you're going to kill all these people. Okay, we're going to put you in timeout for a couple days. You know, if Xbox Live did that, they'd be dealing with a lot less tricks on there too.
Victoria, everybody see you.
Yes, well, I think also, just as humans, I don't think we're evolved yet to have like these faceless conversations. And I was reading a bunch of words or typing and just terrible comments.
It's kind of in general.
So I think we're just not good enough to just have this toneless conversation. So we just get angry. And also, people are really passionate about sports and games, things like that. So I think moderating and like this tribunal thing is a great thing we should have more of. We're not ready.
Sure.
We're not mature enough.
I do agree with the idea of companies taking control, but sometimes there's this thing as such as over control, where it's just people complaining about how somebody's playing, or they don't get on this certain kind of item, or this weapon they like to use, or maybe they're using the wrong class. Do you think that can lead to sometimes overdoing it?
It can. That's where it's all about finding that right balance. You know, if you say, I don't know if you guys go on Reddit or not, but if you go on Reddit, there's some places where there's lively debates, and then there's other places where you say, well, your idea is stupid. Bang! That's not what you need to do. You need to quell the people that are saying, kill you, and that hate you and your family. Those are the people you want to get rid of. But the people that just say, you know, you got a dumb idea, let's talk about it, those are not people you should ban.
Joe.
You gotta remember that the anger was always there. Back in the NES days, back in the days before the internet. The anger was always there. It was always kept in our little sanctuary in our house or in the basement or wherever you had your gaming set up.
Yeah, but you gotta do your controller at the wall, nobody got hurt.
Yeah, but then the next day it's like, oh, whatever. But then as soon as people started getting online, people started getting angry, saying, oh, we can get angry together, and then everybody started getting angry. And then you get people, and then gaming crossed into the mainstream, where people who didn't understand gaming were starting to look, like, oh, what's this? What they're playing games? What type of games are this game is interesting? And then they don't really understand, like, we trash talk a lot. And then the fact that the people who are uninitiated with the whole culture and this trash talk, that leads also to some confusion sometimes. Like, was it the League of Legends player? He said something. Like,
Yeah, and it's like with fighting games
Yeah,
as well. If you're not used to saying that, you know,
the thing is that there was this Canadian mom. She was just looking at Facebook, looking for something, and then this guy was talking to another guy on a League of Legends post, and he said, I'm going to kill your neighbors, and she called the police, and they had everybody, they arrested him, and they had everybody in his house, like SWAT team, and he's right now in jail for doing nothing, just talking trash from to another person, and he got reported by someone who doesn't even know anything about the game, And I think he's still in Chile. Or did he get?
Okay.
No, he got built out.
Okay, my guys get you up there. Joe.
Well, I guess during that too, I think it's good. I guess people don't realize that what they're saying and stuff, right? So they're saying all these things out of context, like what you said with the lady installing out of context. You don't realize the level of pressure they're making.
Well, they don't realize that a lot of it is, you know, it's trash talk. It's, you know, maybe I'm talking about your neighbors in the game or something. Yeah, then yeah, that's unfortunate. But my view is that every group, subculture, whatever you want to call it, you know, steampunks, anime fans, furries, whatever, you're always going to have a lunatic fringe. You know, so as you know, some of you folks have already said, you got to figure out some way to, you know, keep them under control. You know, and not enough folks are doing enough right now, you know, to do that.
Well, we got about 15 minutes left. For the next 10 minutes, we can go to more questions, or did you guys have questions about video game media, development, YouTube jerks?
What are some of your favorite horror games? I'm always been trying to find horror games. Like, I love Rachel Barber's Sandy Jeffrey, kind of an unlocked one. What?
Amnesia.
Yeah, I've heard about Amnesia. I've heard about the Counter-Strike mods. Counter-Strike mods. So I'm always looking for horror games.
It's on PC.
I didn't want to
I don't play them. I got nothing.
I know I've been wanting to play Outlast. I haven't been able to get around to it. Outlast, that's another one that just came out a few months ago, and a lot of people were talking about that. There was, because I've been playing Amnesia as well, and Limbo is more of, that's more like, it's kind of like it's a puzzle platformer kind of.
A mystery, I
But
guess.
it's kind of cutesy as well because you get to see him, but then he got his couple of deaths. What's that? Lone Survivor, that's pretty cool. That's like a 16-bit horror game called Lone Survivor, and it's also pretty trippy. But it was Outlast. Yeah, that one's pretty cool. That's not.
I heard about that one, yeah. Where it's on the island.
You're all shot
It's like
and
a storm
everything
going on.
just starts going all paranormal on you.
I'm old
I don't-
school.
So that's Michigan. If you want free.
Splatterhouse.
Sorry to put cheap on the NES.
Splatterhouse.
Yeah, that's why people made Amnesia.
Yeah, but Amnesia, that freak me.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually really cheap. Any other sort of general questions? Yep.
What are some of your top three?
Probably my, this is going to be the questions. For this year, my best game, my game of the year is going to be The Last of Us. I thought that was really great. I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is really what Walking Dead would be like if it was a game. Because even the Walking Dead adventure game, The Last of Us does it better. And overall, for this generation, Red Dead Redemption.
For this year,
Whatever.
In general.
I want to go with the trend in GTA 5.
You get that.
This year. And overall generation, Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh no, the Patriots. Good. Eric, do you have anything that you actually
You have a Wii U.
Yeah, do you have anything you enjoyed that we made in the past 5 years?
I actually like Grand Theft Auto 5. I played that, but I think
All time. I want to know this.
of all time, Ocarina of Time.
I thought you were going to be more of a Metroid because I feel like
I can't get
Actually,
behind.
that's 16-bit.
I can't get. No, there was no.
sorry, Pitfall, my bad.
Oh, my bad. No, you're right. Your original 8-bit. My
He's
bad.
the oldest one of us, and he didn't get that right.
I can never get behind Metroid. I don't know why. It's just. I guess you know. It's not really
Personal Jack 2, Super Jack 2, and the Car
now, like Monster Hunter?
I have to say, well, current gen, I don't play quite as many games as I used to, but Borderlands 2 has really been knocking my socks off. I mean, it's crazy because I mean it's the same thing over again. You know, bang, 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 you're shooting whatever. But I just cannot get enough of it. I can't stop playing the blinking game. As far as all time goes, I'd have to say probably Ratchet and Clank. If you want to go farther back than that, I'll say Link to the Past. Link to the Past on Super NES. Still one of my favorites. Oh yeah, that's right. I haven't gotten that one yet.
And my overall favorite would be Shiny Force 3. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
What was one thing you would say to the video game industry that you would like to see it improve on?
More different games. That's my favorite. You know, I'm tired of the whole sequelitis. I really don't have any desire for any of the new systems because of that. You know, it's just beyond Nintendo. I mean, how many upcoming games do we have coming up that have numbers at the end? Oh, here's
I want people to stop trying to resell everything on eBay for high prices no matter what it is.
He's collecting. I don't mean, it really comes down to, there are so many places you can get feedback. So many people are discussing something. So many people are actually saying this and that and that. And then you hear stories where, like with The Last of Us, oh, you can't, we don't want to put that game out there. There's a girl on the cover. I mean, why did that even come up? Why did that even become a deal? Well, there's a girl on the cover. It's a great game, but there's a girl. That's where they're really stupid. They're using marketing data, but then they're ignoring all the marketing data that's really out there saying, hey, we want this, hey, we want that.
I do my research.
Yeah. So that's where...
Worry about sexism now with that. It's like it's not just a normal girl.
It's just really dumb that they focus on this general marketing data that they get from X company and what they get from their own internal sources, but they're not paying attention to the actual marketing data of people.
Well, they're not listening to the community. I think is what you're supposed to. Mike.
Take a chance on niche games. Bring it. I mean, obviously we want them because you got a couple of companies actually making an effort to open up places here, like places in the States, like Arc System Works. They just opened up a U.S. location in California, and Ideal Factory also, and they deal with the niche market. They just opened up they opened up an American branch. So I want more of that.
Maybe they deal with JRPGs, and Arc System Works is they're the ones that do Guilty Gear. Maybe you can finish
Victoria.
Saying about the marketing, I think that all these statistics on like what you were saying about like the statistics is why they do this. Statistics they actually games that have no characters don't sell as much. But publishers give less than they cut the budget. The budget's like minus 40% of the regular games because of female characters. So games that don't have as much advertising, so the female games that have female characters don't have as much money to have advertising. But games that have more advertising make more money. But it's this terrible cycle where you allow like games with female characters.
They're still going to do it.
Things like that. And then, but things where just the marketing is just stupid. You know, there's not listening to fans. Like we were also talking about Nintendo.
Oh, Nintendo.
Hiding all these games in Japan and not letting us access to them. Because they think, oh, it's not, Americans won't buy it. It's not. But then it's thinking that needs to change. So that's what I would want to say.
Joe.
They're new for a set already. I think it's all about listening to the community. And like you said, like they want to start new ideas or trying new things. I think for bigger companies, that's a bigger risk, so they don't do as much. So that's why it's growing all about TV now. And it's a lot less risk to make a
Alright, so last general question. Okay. We're going?
On one board, what would you want the most from the next gen system? On one board.
Choice.
Or
Anyway, let's go that way. Eric?
I want to be able to play games with people that are in the same room.
Yeah,
with
that's
me.
one word.
Oh. Two-player game.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, multiplayer, single room multiplayer, which used to be Nintendo's thing, you know. Okay, so that'll do it. These are our Twitter accounts for pretty much everybody here.
You forgot some money. Add the word show in.
Really do.
Yeah. But thanks everybody. We're gonna go ahead and